On the other hand, after Tae-su absorbed the memories and powers of Japan's strongest hunter, he began to speak in nonsense. More precisely, he repeated the conversations the hunter, whose powers and memories he had just absorbed, had during his life. His companion, seeing that he was lost in that sea of memories, began to approach him. As she did, she activated her power and apologized, as she intended to seal him again. She didn't want to lose him. That brief moment made her recall something from her childhood. In what appeared to be her home, she witnessed someone being cursed. It was revealed that a man was hitting his wife, blaming her for everything that had happened in his life. The woman, clinging to her husband's leg, begged for mercy. That was when Yeju revealed that her mother was autistic. This caused the doors of help from people and awakenings to be shut, resulting in a complete catastrophe for them. Since her mother, unable to control her abilities, ended up killing her husband instantly. However, due to her mental instability and having children, she received a suspended sentence. She thought it was for the best. However, her brother did not feel the same. After that tragic day, he began working outside, bringing some violence into the house. As the days passed, he became more and more brutal and violent. It was then, around that time, that Yeju had her awakening. She wondered if becoming a hunter and earning a lot of money could allow her to escape that hell. But one night, while she was falling asleep thinking about it, a noise woke her abruptly with her brother very close to her. She quickly began to run away, but her pursuer caught up to her, hitting her foot and causing her to fall. He cursed her and then began to hit her. They were outside the house, and the girl was screaming for help while trying to defend herself from her brother's blows. But he didn't just plan to hit her, he was attempting to do something worse, and she desperately struggled to stop him. That was when her mother heard her screams. She threw herself on what was her son while shouting at him to stop. But the monster kicked her, telling her to leave. The kick was so strong that the woman, unfortunately, hit her head on the ground. Her daughter, seeing that her mother was not moving, began to crawl toward her. When she reached her, she familiarized what her supposed brother. He, without showing a clear reaction, simply said that what was happening was really bad. Immediately, he threw himself on his sister, as she called him Ghost. After those events, she is in the park with Tae-su, right at the moment when he reveals that he has killed someone again. The boy wonders how many more he will have to kill for all this to end, revealing his sadness about the ability he possesses and the parents who force him to use. That is when Yeju calls him, explaining that she has awakened her own abilities and can control the magical power, adding that she can contain his powers. He asks if that is true, but before she can respond, he makes it clear that before doing so, he wants her to kill one more, revealing her face is swollen from the blows. Thus, he heads to Yeju's house, knocking on the door. At that moment, the young man opens the door and asks about his sister, who has not yet arrived. Without wasting time, Tae-su pierces him with a diamond sword, causing the young man to fall lifeless as he absorbs his memories. This leaves Tae-su somewhat confused, even more so when someone calls out to him. It was his brother asking what he was doing while activating his ability, materializing a chain around his neck. His brother begins to strangle him with the leash, asking if he has had enough. He questions whether the killing has not been enough for him. Without Tae-su's brother noticing, Yeju activates her ability and launches an attack. Unfortunately, Tae-su's attacker manages to grab her hand, preventing her from completing the attack. Seeing this, Tae-su lunges along with the leash, causing his brother to lose balance and fall. That moment is seized by his companion, who quickly places her hand on him and activates her ability, starting to seal his. Tae-su can only watch as the chains begin to disappear. At that moment, before his brother could say anything, Tae-su apologizes and creates a huge diamond stake, piercing the one who was once his brother. The two young people approach and, a bit scared, Yeju asks what they will do now, but Tae-su asks her not to worry as he will protect her for the rest of her life. After that flashback, we return to the present, with Tae-su in a state of shock over what happened. Before she could reach him, he took her hand and asked her what she was doing. Immediately after, he made her explode and cursed at her before his companion could utter a word. In his desperation over what he did, he tries to gather some parts of his friend while crying. Immediately, he activates his hunter resurrection power, and a hand begins to emerge from the center of the red pool. That hand asks if he is. Tae-su, overwhelmed by the despair of what is happening, screams with such intensity, then vomits over what he did. And lying on the ground, he begins to hit his head repeatedly. After a while, he gets up. He activates his multiplication power, creating several copies of him, sending each of them flying around the world with the goal of having each take a red portal with their own hands. And with an expression of rage and anguish, he begins to close the portals one by one. On the other hand, the president of the Hunters Association and Ji-hyung's mother approached the crowd of people who were about to completely eliminate the monster, or at least attempt to. That caught the attention of everyone present, as it was not common to see the S-rank killer in places like that. However, what surprised everyone the most was that the woman accompanying the hunter called the remains of the monster lying on the ground son. This caused someone to throw a stone at her, something that was observed by Ji-hyung. On the other hand, many of the people there were pleading with the healer to heal them, as they were in great pain. But instead of doing so, the woman placed her hand on one of their shoulders and told them not to worry. At that very moment, something happened. A menacing presence filled the entire place. The healer declared that, in any case, everyone would die. Then, it was revealed that Ji-hyung was whole and had taken on another appearance, one less human and more monstrous. His mother, upon seeing him, steadied herself and remembered the moment he was born. She began to approach. With each step she took toward her son, a memory unlocked. Finally, when she was in front of him, she saw him as the little boy he once was. Remembering those moments when she stroked his head, and now she could no longer do so. The woman closed her eyes and confirmed that she was, indeed, his mother. With tears in her eyes, she declared that she didn't care how he looked and that she loved him. Right after saying that, someone grabbed the edges of her face and, in the end, tore it as if it were paper. It was Tae-su who committed that atrocity. Unlike the previous time he attacked the woman, this time he fulfilled his intention, and he did it right in front of her son. Incidentally, the son had no time to react as Tae-su quickly beheaded him. Everyone, upon witnessing it, praised that Han Tae-su from the Keum Kang Guild. At that moment, Tae-su reported that he had closed all the portals in the world and that what was behind Ji-hyung was the last one. Just then, Ji-hyung was regenerated. But Tae-su, using some of his abilities, pushed him toward the red door. With one last look, he bid farewell to Ji-hyung, who began to fall back into the portal. With tears in his eyes, and as everyone praised Han Tae-su, he closed the portal. Ji-hyung fell to the floor within the portal, with the unforgettable memory of Tae-su killing his mother and closing his red portal. Immediately afterward, the attack of the monsters within that dimension began, directed at Ji-hyung.
And with that, we've reached the end of this week's chapter. If you made it all the way to the end, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this chapter in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe so our community can keep growing and we can reach more fans like you. See you in the next video. In the meantime, if you're from the near future, I'll leave you the next chapter and a comic you're sure to enjoy.